Travel companions, welcome to these Italian itineraries we'll explore together. We'll call the first trip Classic Italy and visit this country's great cities. This itinerary is designed and aimed at those who have not yet visited Italy, or for those who want to remember these cities through this journey. In other episodes, we'll focus on Italy's hidden corners and small towns. Ready? Suitcases packed. Travel companions? We've just landed in Milan. I choose Milan because it's further north, so we can head south as we continue our journey through Italy. We could have chosen Rome. Remember what we said in the video about preparing a trip to Europe. Look for the city with the cheapest flight. How many days should I spend there? You have to see what's nearby to visit. 2 or 3 days might be enough to explore this city. More is always better, but 2 days is enough. Starting to get to know the city with a free tour is a very good option. I'll leave the links on the blog so you can book them in each city you plan to visit. Visiting the Duomo and Galleria Vittorio Emanuele alone makes staying in Milan worthwhile. The Duomo also has beautiful views from the rooftop, a place where you can go up and enjoy the panorama of the city. The layover in Milan is another must-see. As well as the Sforzesco Castle. The trams in its streets add a unique charm. Another must-see is Leonardo da Vinci's The Last Supper at Santa Maria delle Grazie. Complete the tour with a walk through the canals area, the Navigli neighborhood. Here are the main places to visit in Milan. For more details, check our Milan playlist videos. If you haven't seen it, I'll leave the link in the description. Accommodation options vary. Central areas are more expensive, but you always have to do an intense search, and something might come up. Remember, I post articles on the blog with our chosen option, tips on accommodation, and advice for traveling by car, as well as the links to book the free tours around the city. What is there to see near the city? Visiting the lakes is a good option if you want to add more days in the area. Lake Como, just about 50 kilometers away, as well as Lake Maggiore or Lake Garda, a little farther, offer beautiful towns and stunning landscapes. A train or car ride will take us to our next destination, Turin. These two cities are about 150 kilometers apart. We can cover it by train in an hour or by car in a little more time. How many days should we spend in Turin? About 3 nights will be fine. There are several places to visit, and the Mole Antonelliana is one of them. Inside, it houses the Cinema Museum, and it also has a viewpoint at the top. The Madama Palace. the Carignano Palace. The Egyptian Museum. The Royal Palace, the Automobile Museum, the Valentino Park, the medieval Borgo. Do you have a lot to see in this city? I won't detail every Turin attraction since we have a comprehensive video about our trip there. Just like I told you to check out the one about Milan, or to check the article on the blog, the same goes for Turin. Check out the video and check out the article on the blog. And there you'll find lots of tips about accommodation and things to do. Accommodation offer. Even though it's a big city, you can find some reasonable prices in certain areas. Near Porta Nuova station, you can stay and you'll be very close to the historic center. But there are many other areas as well. I'll say it again, I'll leave this info on the blog, as well as tours and free tours you can take in the city. What to see nearby? If you want to spend more days, you can take a trip through the Aosta Valley. It's a lovely place. We have a video linked in the description. We go to the station and take the train, or we can also drive to a must-see destination when visiting Italy. Welcome to Venice. Now we'll have a longer journey, about 400 kilometers from Turin to Venice. We can do the same by train, by car if we've already rented one, or we can also book a flight. Welcome to the City of Canals, to the one and only Venice. How many nights should you spend here, and where should you stay? One night in Venice would be fine. Of course, if you can add one more night and visit Burano and Murano, that would be perfect. When visiting Venice, we have two options for accommodation: staying in Venice itself and here. The downside might be the high prices of accommodations, but on the plus side, you get to enjoy being in the city at any time. And the other option is to stay in Mestre, where we can find better prices and travel to Venice during the day. But now we'll make a point here. Starting in 2022, a payment system will be implemented for those who visit Venice for the day, but not for those who stay overnight in the city. Entry will be through electronic turnstiles, and you will have to show a QR code. Reservations can be made through an app, and the costs are estimated to range from €3 to €10, depending on the season of the visit. Will this be a way to limit the number of daily visitors to the island? What is there to see in Venice? Exploring the canals and taking a gondola ride is the best plan. The Rialto Bridge, St. Mark's Basilica, the Doge's Palace, the Bridge of Sighs. These are some of the main highlights to visit. But get lost in its streets. You definitely won't regret it. What to see nearby? If you can add one more day to your visit, Burano, Murano, and Torcello are worth it. When we talked about the high prices of accommodation in Venice, the same goes for having lunch or dinner there. It's a place where we have to pay a little attention and watch our budget. That's why the other option could be Mestre, both for staying and for having dinner. Personally, we stayed right in Venice. We stayed there to enjoy the island. Now we will travel about 280 kilometers and arrive in Florence. As you can see, every city on this classic itinerary is a must-see, including Florence. Especially if you are an art lover, this city is an open-air museum. Strolling through its streets and immersing yourself in its museums is a real pleasure. How many days should you spend in Florence? At least 4 days, or longer if possible. Some of the highlights to visit are Piazza del Duomo, with the cathedral, the bell tower, and the baptistery. Piazza della Signoria, with the Palazzo Vecchio and the Fountain of Neptune. The Ponte Vecchio, Piazza della Repubblica, the Palazzo Pitti and Boboli Gardens, the Accademia Gallery, and a highlight for Piazzale Michelangelo, from where you get the best panoramic view of Florence. These are just a few of the many places you can visit in the city. Where to stay? We're not talking about a cheap city either, but if you find accommodation in the city center, you'll enjoy walking through its streets at night, and without a doubt, that's a plus. What can I visit nearby if I want to add more days in the area? A trip to Pisa, which is a little over 100 kilometers away, is an option. Places like San Gimignano or Siena in Tuscany are also great additions. If you want to spend several more days in Tuscany, move to a town in Tuscany and use it as your base. And from there, visit several beautiful towns. But we'll leave that for another itinerary with more towns and hidden spots. Today, we're focusing on a more classic Italy. Now, heading further south, about 280 kilometers will take us to Rome. Remember I told you that the itinerary could have started here. It's definitely the must-see of Italy. If you have enough days, I would dedicate at least 5 to explore it calmly and experience that Roman atmosphere in its streets. In our case, we chose an apartment in front of the Parliament to stay in Rome, just steps from the Pantheon and Trevi Fountain. The list of places to visit is endless. We highlight the Colosseum, the Vatican, the Pantheon, and the Trevi Fountain, the Vittorio Emanuele Monument, and Trastevere. But there are so many, many more. In Rome, we need comfortable shoes and to walk through all those streets full of history. It's the best way to explore it. Visit its squares like Piazza Navona, Campo de' Fiori. Stop to eat at the local places. Try their pasta, their pizza. In short, walk through the Roman Forum. Piazza Ispania Castel Sant'Angelo. Anyway, there are so many places. And after a few days in this amazing city, we finished the trip further south. And before we head to our last stop, let's do a recap of what we've done so far. We started the trip in Milan, then we visited Turin, went to Venice, then to Florence, Rome, and we'll finish in Naples. We're about 230 kilometers away from Naples. We'll stay here for about 3 days or so to admire this city with so much personality. The typical views of Vesuvius, Castel Nuovo, Castel dell'Ovo, Piazza del Plebiscito, the Galleria Umberto I, which reminds us so much of the Galleria in Milan. All in all, a tour with a lot of walking, but seeing Mount Vesuvius in the background is an unmissable postcard in Naples. And to this, add a visit to Pompeii, this city that was buried after the eruption of Mount Vesuvius. If you have more days and want to add a few more days in this area, I wouldn't miss it for anything in the world. Sorrento, Positano, Amalfi, or the island of Capri. The Amalfi Coast is one of the most beautiful places in the world. We kept adding days in each of the cities we visited, and besides, we gave options for places nearby in the area and to add more days with those places. There, you must have been doing your own calculations. Well, I'm going to stay, 3 days in Milan, and besides that, I'm going to stay 1 more day at its lakes, or 2 more days at its lakes. And well, that's how you start putting together your itinerary for that first experience in Italy with some of the places this country has to offer, which, as we said, we're leaving a lot aside just to choose a few, to make it a viable itinerary so you can spend about 20 days. This simple itinerary is a guide for taking a basic tour around Italy. There are definitely a lot missing here, without a doubt, but as we always say, let's not try to see everything in just a few days. Instead, prioritize quality time and give more days to fewer places, to enjoy them and to experience them more. Travel companions, we're wrapping up this classic Italy here. You can find tips on budgets, flights, and documentation in the 2 videos about tips for traveling to Europe. More detailed information about each city, accommodation, free tours, how to rent a car, and book a flight. You can find all of that on our blog. If you liked the video, and most importantly, if it was helpful to you, I invite you to subscribe and like Travel Companions. Until the next time we ask you, are you planning a trip to